The Mayor officially opened the viewing platform at the top of the Shard today. One of its developers said that Londoners would come to love the building and adopt it as Parisians have adopted the Eiffel Tower and Americans the Empire State. So, is the Shard destined to be a success? Nick Beake's been trying to find out. Nick, over to you.
Well, Louisa, it certainly wasn't the clearest of days to check out the 40-mile panoramic views they promise you from up there at the top of the Shard. But from down here, you can certainly appreciate how it now dominates the London skyline. And to think it all started with a sketch on the back of a restaurant menu in Berlin 13 years ago. So they've built it, but will they fill it? What of the impact for the local area, and how about the cost of those tickets to go up there and check out the view for yourself? Well, first thing this morning, our reporter Warren Nettleford made his way to the top of the Shard for the official opening of the viewing platform.
The highest viewing platform in Europe, if not the world, open.
The Mayor wasn't able to cut the ribbon, but it didn't seem to matter all that much. For the lucky few who were first through the doors at the Shard, all that mattered was appreciating the view.
I'm just a bit blown away, to be honest.
It's what we've needed, really, isn't it, against other capitals?
I've been on the London Eye, and look at how much higher up we are.
And the owners are counting on the wow factor to woo more of us to look from the city's newest skyscraper. Tickets are sold out for the next 2 weeks. Visitors happy with a £25 cost for a chance to see London almost from the clouds. The views may be impressive from the building, but take a look at the Shard and you'll see lights off and empty floors. At the moment, only 20% of the office space has been leased, well short of their target to have the building full by the end of next year.
What they're trying to do is create an entire quarter here to make it into more of an established office location. But, you know, maybe if you're a tenant, economy is very dodgy, that added bit of risk, maybe that put people off.
We've only just opened the viewing gallery today. We've got a lot of work to do, and the programme is within the next 2 years, these buildings will be fully occupied.
And the Mayor sees the Shard as being a real catalyst for growth.
Look at what's happening just over there. You've got the walkie-talkie going up, the cheese grater, stuff that wasn't happening 4 years ago. All those cranes stopped moving 4 years ago. They're back on the scene now.
The owners have been able to attract plenty of day visitors. Now they need to attract more long-term tenants. Warren Nettleford, BBC London News.
So just how big a building have they got to fill? Well, let's take a look. The Shard is the first building in the EU, in Britain certainly, to top 1,000 feet, 1,016 to be exact, but still that's only 2/3 the height of the Empire State Building. That was built 80 years ago. Both of those, of course, are dwarfed by the world's current tallest building, Burj Khalifa, which opened in 2010 in Dubai. That's 2,717 feet. But back home, certainly it's a significant day for London. This is now the tallest building in the capital. I've been taking a look back at how the city's skyline has evolved over the years. It is a skyline as diverse as it is famous. The old and the new jostling for attention in a picture which has been transformed over the past 50 years. After the war, when much of London was rising from the rubble, it was still St Paul's Cathedral, the unscathed symbol of defiance, which was the outstanding figure in the frame. And Wren's 365 feet tall masterpiece, completed in 1710, would dwarf all comers for the next 250 years. That was until the BT Tower rose to prominence. Though not as lofty, Centre Point was one of London's first true skyscrapers. 34 floors built on clay in the heart of the West End. Dr. Wilhelm Frischmann, now 80 and still working full-time, was the structural engineer on the project. His job was to convince everyone it was safe to build something so high with prefab material.
Everybody said that you couldn't build a tall building in a factory and then really assemble it more or less on site. And we proved that it could be done. It was built in time. I still think it looks very impressive.
In 1980, the NatWest Tower, now known as Tower 42, came to dominate the City of London, 600 feet high. But in the early 90s, with a new financial district at Canary Wharf, One Canada Square reached up to seize the crown of the country's tallest building. A crown the Shard has now taken, standing over 1,000 feet tall.
We've got a new tower here in Stratford City, which will change the look of the Olympic site.
Here at the building centre, all new and proposed constructions appear as tiny white blocks on this scale model. Despite the stunted economy, more than 100 schemes for buildings over 20 stories high are being planned. Many are residential, at least for those who can afford them.
There are planning applications in for buildings of 58 stories down at Vauxhall. There are ideas for other towers down around in Southwark, around the Shard. Some more residential towers around Canary Wharf. We'll gradually see these towers rising.
But building cities in the sky has always been controversial.
All control is gone. It's the only city in Europe with no control over the location of high buildings. And this isn't just a high building, this is a gigantic building. This is a deliberate sort of finger in the face of London. And I think at that point you just have to say this is the wrong place for it.
The views of this city are ever changing, but for now no other building is planned to top the newest addition to London's skyline. And let me just tell you finally about one couple from Epping Forest who wrote themselves into history very early this morning. We can see the magic moment. James Episcopou, aged 22, got down on one knee to propose to his girlfriend Laura Taylor. And I can tell you the good news is that she said yes. So certainly love conquered all up there at the top of the Shard first thing this morning. We'll have to wait a little longer to see if Londoners and tourists alike really take the Shard to their hearts. Louisa.
Oh, some lovely news, Nick. Thanks very much. Still to come on the programme. Can England hammer their oldest rivals in the Six Nations, or will Scotland get a first win at Twickenham in 30